You ever get to a point where the person who used to make your heart race, the one you thought you couldn't live without, suddenly doesn't have that power over you anymore? Not because they changed, but because you did. That's where I am now. And it feels like freedom. Not the kind of freedom you scream from the rooftops. It's quieter than that. More grounded. Like finally stepping into your own skin after years of trying to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. I used to believe my twin flame was my everything. My mirror. My purpose. My destiny. I thought loving him meant giving every part of me until there was nothing left. And I did. I gave so much that I forgot what it felt like to want something just for me. I lost myself in his energy, in his moods, in the way he would come and go like seasons, and I'd wait like the world wouldn't turn without him. But here's the thing about waiting on someone who can't fully show up. You start to forget how to stand on your own. There were times I convinced myself that if I just loved him harder, he'd finally see me. That if I stayed patient enough, kind enough, forgiving enough, maybe he'd wake up one day and realize I was worth staying for. But the truth is, love isn't a game of endurance. It's not about who can wait longer or forgive more. It's about showing up, consistently, with intention, with respect. And for the longest time, I didn't feel respected by his choices. It felt like an option. Someone he came back to when things got too heavy elsewhere. When life got lonely. When he needed comfort but not commitment. And I let him. Because I believed I needed him more than I needed myself. It took 2 years apart. Real distance, not just physical but emotional. For me to understand that absence wasn't going to heal me. Perspective was. During that time I stopped chasing answers. I stopped asking why he left, why he came back, why he kept pulling away. I stopped trying to decode every message and predict every move. Instead, I turned inward. I started listening to the parts of me I had silenced for so long. The voice that said, "You deserve better than this." And slowly I began rebuilding myself. Not as someone who was waiting to be chosen again. Not as someone whose worth hinged on whether or not he showed up. But as a woman who was learning to hold her own space. To love herself fiercely. To honor her boundaries. To stop bending just to fit into a relationship that never really held her properly. When we reunited, it was different. He still tried some of the old games, the hot and cold, the push-pull, the silence, the inconsistency. But this time I didn't react the way I used to. I didn't panic. I didn't scramble to fix whatever was wrong. I didn't twist myself into knots trying to make him stay. Instead, I watched. I listened. I observed. And I realized something powerful. He was confused. Because the version of me he knew, the one who begged for attention, who feared being alone, who gave more than she received, was gone. And in her place stood a woman who no longer needed his validation to feel whole. That unsettled him. 'Cause now he had a choice. He could either step into growth, into honesty, into accountability, into real connection, or he could walk away. And either way I was okay. That shift. That self-love. It's not always pretty. It's not always peaceful. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. It's waking up some days and still feeling that pull toward them, but choosing yourself anyway. It's honoring your peace even when your heart aches. It's letting go of the fantasy of who they could be and making peace with who they are. And I've made peace. I still love him. Do. But it's not the desperate, all-consuming kind of love anymore. It's softer. Kinder. It's the kind of love that doesn't require anything in return. Because I'm not looking to him to complete me anymore. I'm already whole. And that's the most powerful thing I've ever discovered. That I don't need a twin flame to define my light. I am the flame. And now I burn brighter than ever. So if you're somewhere in the middle of your journey, still holding on to hope, still waiting for someone to choose you the way you've been choosing them, I want you to hear this. You are worthy of love that meets you halfway. Of presence that doesn't waver. Of energy that matches yours. Of a connection that lifts you up instead of dragging you down. And if what you're in right now doesn't feel like that, if you find yourself constantly adjusting, apologizing, explaining, waiting, then maybe it's time to ask yourself, am I loving someone who actually sees me? Or am I clinging to the idea of what this could be? Because sometimes, the most revolutionary act of love is walking away. Or staying, but only on your terms. Only with your power intact. I used to think twin flames were about union. Now I know they're about reflection. They show us where we still need healing, not where we need to lose ourselves. And once you heal, once you rise, once you remember who you are outside of their energy, you become unshakable. You become free. And that freedom, it's the most beautiful kind of love. The kind that starts within.